Hello there. Happy Saturday. Ryan and I were chatting today about what it's like to be in business because he and I have a very different experience being in business. It actually started from I wanted to know what it was like for him in his process. Like, what is it like to be creative like he is? Because he is very much driven by his creativity. He loves creating things. Um, he really would be unhappy if he wasn't able to create things every day or most days. And I was just really interested in what that was like for him and the way that his brain works on that. And it led us to this conversation of artisans or artists or creative people who decide that they're going to start a business based on the thing that they're good at and and how rarely it works. And I don't mean that these people um, are bad at what they do, and I don't mean that their business is somehow not successful. I just mean that business is a skill all on its own, and that how many times have we heard that phrase? Maybe not directed at us, but like, oh my goodness, you're such a good cook, like you should totally start a restaurant, or like, oh my goodness, I love the deck stairs that you made. It's a weird one, but that's what Ryan's doing today. You should totally be a carpenter. Like, like that's a really common thing that either we say to people or people say to each other or like whatever. And I just like business is a skill. And I think we forget about that when we've been employees our whole life, or maybe we don't forget, but we don't know that that's not something that we're necessarily inherently good at. It's, being in business means you have to be really good at communication, communicating to your clients in terms of timelines, expectations. Here's the process that you're going to go through, like getting what they want from you in terms of what the project is going to be and that kind of thing. So communication is really, really important. And that's not a skill that we all have. It's definitely something that I've had to learn in my business. And I know that uh, it's just not necessarily a thing that we're born with. I think organization is another one. Organization is a really, really important skill to have if you're a small business owner because you have to be able to manage many different jobs and different customers and track, well, income and expenses is the one that comes to mind for me, but you have to be able to track your marketing and your workflows and just all of the things, your schedule. That's a big one. When are you going to be able to get things done? So organization is a really big deal when you're a small business owner. And so if you're not an organized person, then that can be a real struggle when you own a business. And the third critical piece to being a small business owner is being motivated from yourself, like intrinsically motivated, because there are days when you're not inspired. I would argue most days you're not inspired. Um, I know, like, and I think inspiration or to be inspired is a really maybe weird thing to talk about. Maybe because that's not how I operate. I don't operate on an inspired basis. That's a weird way to say that. I am very much like I have a fire under my butt. It's the best way to describe it. I am motivated to get things done. Checking something off a list is good motivation for me. I'm motivated by making money. I'm motivated by being able to pay the mortgage, to like pay off the credit card. Like all of those things I'm motivated by. And if those things don't motivate you, you need a reason for doing it because every day is hard, whether it's hard because you don't want to do it or you have a customer that's tough or you have a relationship that's difficult to manage, or maybe something just went wrong, or or maybe it's been amazing and you had a wildly successful date. Like that's hard too. It's not just easy all the time. And I know that a lot of people will start a business because it's a great way to be your own boss and have your own schedule, and like it's a lot more flexible, but is it? Like I know for myself that when I worked in the corporate world, I really didn't work Like I showed up every day, kind of. I'd like roll in at like 9:30 or 10 and then leave at like, I don't know, 4 maybe. And, you know, 2, 3 weeks out of the month, I didn't really have much to do. And I know that's maybe not a typical experience of the corporate world, but like I work so much harder as a small business owner. I work so many more hours. My schedule is kind of flexible, but I also have meetings like every day basically. I have meetings that are scheduled with other people, so I can't just blow those off. I work a lot more hours, like I said, and um I'm my own boss kind of, but also I'm not because my customers are my boss, right? Like not in the like employer relationship, but like I'm accountable to them and I'm accountable to the people, the contractors that I have that work with me. Dog for in my face. Literally owning a dog. And I'm accountable to those people and to my suppliers. And there's a lot more stakeholders in the way that I make money now than there was when I was employed. So I think it's really easy to overlook all of the hard stuff about business, or it's not even necessarily hard if you're good at that kind of thing or you like doing it, but the admin piece, and that it's not just about being good at something. Like there are people who are wildly successful that are just okay at what they do, but they're really really good at business. Like arguably, like not arguably, I am not the best accountant out there. I'm not. I am good at business. I'm a good accountant, don't get me wrong, but I am not the best. But I am good at communicating. I am good at organizing. I am good at um, being motivated to do things that I don't necessarily want to do. And I feel that I have a good skill set for being in business, and that has really aided me in creating the company that I have, much more so than my skills as an accountant. And I know that those two things are linked because, you know, accounting and business are very closely tied to each other. So certainly that's helpful. Um, but I think at this point, like, I would be happy to be in business doing something else. I'm not going to change what I'm being in. I'm not saying I'm like leaving accounting. That's not all what I'm saying. But I could be doing something else. And, you know, it doesn't have to be accounting necessarily. So I just think it's important to keep that in mind that business is a skill and that it's a whole other thing from the thing that you actually like doing. Um, So if you're thinking about starting a business, just make sure that you're really understanding what it is that you're starting out on, and that if you have a small business and you're struggling, then that's totally normal because that's not maybe a skill set that you have, and that's okay. It's, you know, just something that you're going to have to get support for or learn how to do on your own or have somebody do for yourself. I mean, I guess both of those things mean getting support. But yeah, it's totally normal and it's like you're not going to be inherently good at business usually. There's some exceptions obviously to that, but if you have questions about business or you like aren't even sure what to ask, just like let me know in the comments. Let me know what you think about all of this, about the like my take on this. Let me know what your take is. I'd love to keep chatting about this. I find this really, really interesting, and I loved hearing Ryan's perspective because he and I are very, very different people, which is partly why it works. I hope you're doing well. I hope you have a relaxing Saturday, and I'll see you tomorrow.